Germania era un paese mitico perché proprio autostrade senza pedaggio. Oggi la Germania ha introdotto per i veicoli pesanti un pedaggio sulle sue autostrade, ma è un pedaggio come quello che dico io, è un pedaggio che finanzia non la costruzione di quella strada e non la costruzione di altre strade come quella, anche nel senso che diciamo così, finanziamenti che derivano da queste risorse drenate dal traffico pesante vengono anche utilizzati per investimenti stradali laddove ci sono colli di bottiglia, c'è congestione, eccetera, ma anche ferrovie, investimenti nel sistema ferroviario e soprattutto investimenti nelle città, nel trasporto pubblico urbano. Allora, diciamo, il senso dell'operazione non è quello del concessionario, non è il bilancio aziendale della concessionaria, ma è la politica dei trasporti di uno Stato. Sono due modi molto diversi di gestire le risorse derivanti dal traffico stradale. Le UNES, quelle del concessionario stradale, diciamo così, vengono, quando va bene, vengono riutilizzate per confermare quel sistema di trasporto. In Germania è esattamente il contrario. Prendiamo risorse dal traffico stradale e vediamo di investire in quegli investimenti che ci consentono di modificare la ripartizione modale. Fa una bella differenza.
Find ourselves in a territory that presents itself as a complex and fragile system of environmental elements and human elements. The construction of a street, of a highway, of a superhighway has enormous and definitive consequences on the environment. Today, the streets are still, unfortunately, conceived only as elements of connection between urban centers, denying the reality in their projections of numerous subdivisions, lacerations, and fragmentations that provoke in the surrounding mosaic of natural ecosystems.
The effects of roads are many, but there are four main effects in respect to habitat fragmentation. The first one is habitat destruction. You have a piece of habitat, a piece of nature area, and it will become smaller and smaller because of all the human influence. This might be urban development, it might be forestry or agriculture, all reasons to take out a little bit of nature. The problem will be more difficult or will be bigger when also roads are coming in. Because every time you put in a road, it will take some space, and if there was a nature area, it will be gone, it will be lost. The second impact is the impact to nature areas adjacent to the road.
We have research that shows that in the wider area of a road, the effects are noticeable for species. And also, of course, if you put in a road and you really change the hydrology of the area, this has also a profound effect on a bigger part of the area and not only the road.
The third impact is the barrier effect of roads. It means that, well, a road or a railroad will cut through a nature area and it will put it in two halves.
It will transect an area which this species used to go from one place to another.
And you can imagine that in the new situation, when you put a road in, that the two populations on both sides will be damaged and maybe become extinct in the future.
The effect which for us, most humans, is most apparent is of course that roads kill animals.
And in some cases this is really a big problem because populations might be very vulnerable. If the population is small and half of it is killed each year on the road, you can imagine that it's very likely that this population will disappear.
The projection of a street, of a highway or superhighway should consideration firstly and not in the end when it's too late, but firstly a study of the territory, a study of the environmental fragility, the social and economic aspects. Therefore, we must verify the sustainability of this intervention and this determined position of our territory. In the end, our plans must take into consideration the reduction of environmental damage to its minimum and a compensation for this consumption of territory.
Because it's not only a question where the road should be, but also a question if there should be a road at all. And that first question, at the moment, is not incorporated in policy. For that, they want to do something which is called a strategic environmental impact assessment, so that you first decide whether you need the road at all.
So then you should start thinking about maybe another location for your road, or another design, or another way to develop or use the road. That's a very important step, and usually the avoidance step, how can we reroute our road, how can we plan him at a different location, is forgotten. Mostly people immediately start to think about how can we reduce impacts instead of avoiding impacts. But you should really start with the first one, the avoidance.
Nei paesi più avanzati è ormai opinione diffusa che non vadano costruite nuove infrastrutture autostradali, ove non sia assolutamente necessario. Il principio dell'avoidance deve essere il primo passo delle valutazioni degli enti competenti, che dovrebbero considerare in primo luogo di non intervenire sul territorio con una nuova infrastruttura, laddove sia possibile assolvere alle necessità di mobilità in altri modi, ad esempio in Maremma tramite l'ammodernamento dell'Aurelia e delle connessioni intermodali. Occorre che le amministrazioni locali adottino tecniche e procedure usualmente praticate in Olanda, Svizzera, Germania, Francia, ad esempio, per chiedere la massima serietà, qualità e trasparenza nelle scelte delle politiche di trasporti.
Quindi una strada, se si deve e si faccia, è chiaro che ci vuole un bel progetto, qui dell'ambiguità non si vada a caccia, ma alla natura occorre più rispetto. Qui spesso la natura si minaca a caccia e il mondo vedo è sempre più streghe e che se una strada si fa senza progetti e segno nella testa non siamo schietti.
There also exists a direct relation between viability and economy. A superhighway-type infrastructure has an enormous impact on the economy and the territory through which it passes. The realization of superhighways tend to favor the development of an industrial model of development. The idea is today still very diffuse that the model of industrial development imposed by the arrival of the superhighway is a winning model.